Hey guys, it's your girl, Geek XX Chic, and I'm here with a review of the latest episode of The Walking Dead. This is my very first video, so hopefully you guys like it, and if so, make sure you do click the like on it. And if you want to see more of my videos, which will be coming on a much more regular basis, please subscribe. But on to the latest episode of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 5. Just wanted to give my quick review of the episode. Let's just kind of take it from the top. My favorite moments of the episode, I really like the Rick and Michonne interaction that happened very early in the episode. And I kind of want to say something about this because a lot of people were kind of freaking out, like on Twitter. They were like, oh my God, what does it mean? You know, Rick went in for like the cheek kiss, and Michonne kind of pulled him over and forced him into a kiss. What's going on? And I'm gonna put my spin on it because a lot of people were freaking out. Calm down. Take a cleansing breath, guys. It's, first of all, not that serious. But second of all, my take on it is that I really love that scene because it was so much was said and unsaid in that like 2 minutes that scene was. You know, we see that Rick is still clearly struggling with everything that's happened since the season premiere, which I know for us as watchers, it's been 5 weeks, but you have to remember that in Showtime, it's been like a week, maybe, since he watched 2 of his good friends be murdered in front of him, since Negan toyed with his mind mercilessly, since Negan tried to get him to cut his own son's hand off, and then showed up just a few days ago at his home and just completely peed all over everything, basically, and said, screw you, say thank you for it, and then drove off. So Rick is dealing with a lot right now. And, you know, Rick, as we saw last episode, he's someone who feels extremely responsible for the people in his group and the people in his life. And so it really affected him to have this happen, as it would anyone. But I think he's particularly taking a lot of the responsibility on himself because he's a leader and he's in charge of this group. And he's like, I really should have been able to protect them. And I mean, remember, he's also a police officer, or was a police officer. So people in those roles, they tend to take the responsibility of protecting and caretaking for people very seriously. And in his mind, he got a big F this time around. He lost 2 of his very good friends, particularly Glenn, who he owed his life to, really, if you remember from season 1, and Abraham, who was a really great guy who, as this episode brought up, would make you both laugh and cringe in the same sentence. So it's a lot, and Rick is still dealing with that. And, you know, I think that moment with Michonne when he basically is like, okay, you're not coming with us, we'll see you later, and he goes in for that kiss. I mean, quite frankly, Rick's ego is really bruised right now. It's not broken, which is what, you know, that's what Negan wants to happen. He wants to break Rick's ego, but it's not broken, but it is certainly bruised, very bruised. And when a man's ego is bruised, or anyone's for that matter, ego is bruised, you know, you're not going to feel all that sexy. You're not going to feel all that, you know, in the mood to be, you know, present with really any relationship, let alone one as intimate as his and Michonne's. And, you know, I can see where, you know, where Michonne's concerned. You know, we know Michonne is a kick-ass female. She can hold her own, always has held her own. So, you know, for him, it's probably kind of doubly ouchy that, you know, okay, here's my girl who, you know, is pretty badass, and I was, you know, I just sat back and let Negan and his dudes come in and just crap all over our camp and our life, and I just had to take it. So anyways, I just kind of took that moment where they come in and she kind of guides him back and says, no, you know, kiss me. I took that as Michonne trying to show him that, look, I don't think of you as any less of a man because of what's going on right now. Like, we know as an audience she doesn't 100% agree, and I think Rick knows deep down she's not 100% on board with it yet, but I think she needed him to understand that, look, babe, I'm not judging you for this. I'm not trying to, I don't see you as any less of a man because you had to, you know, for all intents and purposes, he kind of kneeled to Negan, even if he didn't have to physically do it. I think that's kind of what it was her just giving him that message that, like, babe, I'm still here for you. I'm still your lady. I'm still going to be behind you. Like, we're gonna make it through. Like, don't forget what we have. That's what I got from her. And from Rick, you know, I kind of liked, and this is one thing I love about Andy Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, they're both really good with subtle acting. And even that their kiss, which, whew, I mean, muy caliente. I'm not Spanish. I don't know why I did that. Just that kiss was really hot. But beyond that, it was in that little, I mean, it was what, maybe 5 seconds long. You know, you see it kind of starts out where, you know, it's kind of pensive for the both of them. And then you see Rick kind of relax almost a little bit and kind of pull her in and almost remember that, oh, hey, yeah, I remember this. But then almost immediately he's back to kind of pulling himself away, and then he says thank you and walks off. And I took that thank you to mean that he realized what she was trying to say to him, but he's still not ready to hear that message. But he's not there yet. Michonne clearly is, but he's not there. And neither is Carl, which I guess we'll start to talk about him because he kind of feeds into what eventually happens at the Hilltop. But Carl is very, I mean, I know a lot of people are mad at Carl, and there's a lot of people who aren't Carl fans. I like this kid. Kevin Smith called him Wyatt Twerp last night on The Talking Dead, and it's very apropos. He's a badass. He's adapted to this new world maybe a little too well. He's a teenager. Regardless, he's a hormonal teenager. He's not thinking with all of his brain right now. That's a scientific fact, by the way, that teenagers are not functioning on all cylinders. But yeah, he's not functioning the way he should, and he's got a whole lot of hormones going on. Plus, a lot of people forget that Carl's been through a lot of stuff. And one thing that they brought out a lot in season 6 was that a lot of these group members, you know, especially the ones who've been around since I'd say at least season 2 and onwards, Alexandria gave them the opportunity, the first opportunity in probably since the apocalypse happened, to really sit and really reflect on everything that's happened, everything that they've done, the people that they've killed, the acts they've committed, all the things that they did that they probably, if you'd asked the pre-apocalyptic version of themselves, they would have been like, oh God, I would never bite a man's throat out. Or everyone's had time to reflect, and to think that Carl's not going to be part of that reflection process just because he's young is silly. He is young, but we know he's been through so much stuff since this thing started. And you know, we saw a touch of it last season that he's still struggling with losing an eye. That's kind of massive. That's I think for anyone in any situation is extremely life-changing and hard to deal with. And you know, Carl's had to deal with the fact that he's going to have this disfigurement for the rest of his life. And then of course, like almost right after all of that happened, all the Negan stuff happened. So he's had a lot to deal with too. And I think that coupled with, you know, with Negan's just like a direction, like just an outlet for Carl right now for all that rage. And it's not the right place for him to be directing it, but you know, that's kind of what's gonna happen. So she wanted to leave, and Carl at first was like, yeah, we'll go, like, if you want to be dumb and be wandering the roads when you know creepos like the saviors are out there, go for it. But of course he eventually does join her, and I don't know how to feel about the whole Carl Enid romance thing. I mean, they've been hinting at it since season 6, but I don't know. I'm happy for him. I mean, it's inevitable. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's not like there's a lot of teenage girls around. You know, the boy does have hormones. She's got hormones. It was kind of destined, I guess, to happen. I don't know. It felt weird, a bit weird to me. Not like out of place per se, but just the timing with all that's going on. I felt like we could have skipped the whole roller date thing. Extreme zombie roller date. They really should have tried putting on one of the walkers. That would have been, I would have paid money to see the walkers just sitting there on roller skates. You know, a little rope tied around their waist. Okay, this has gone too far. They show up there, and when they get there, Enid figures out that Carl did not come to be a chivalrous dude. But he came because he was looking to get revenge on Negan. He thinks, hey, one bullet to the head is all that's gonna end this whole thing. Which, first off, Carl, we saw from the first scene of the show that your depth perception is not coming along. Not quite yet. We're not there. But second of all, like, you know, he, just like Enid said to him, killing Negan at this point is not going to be out of, you know, some sort of revenge or some sort of justice for Glenn and for Abraham and and for everything. It's really just going to be to make Carl feel better. You know, Chris Hardwick brought up on The Talking Dead last week that Negan is kind of the king of the scumbags. You know, like he's keeping this gaggle of really not great guys. Not all of them, obviously, but a good chunk of them are clearly creeps. And they're scared of Negan, so they're behaving themselves to an extent because of Negan. So you take out that control, you're going to have a giant group of well-armed douchebags that are going to most likely want to take you out because when they realize, okay, well, we can't control you, we're just going to kill you now. We have confirmation that Maggie is indeed still pregnant. She did suffer a little bit of trauma. She is still pregnant. I didn't really think that they were going to have the cojones to have her lose the baby, not after losing Glenn and losing her dad. And, I mean, if you look at the show's timeline, Maggie's lost her entire family in the span of a year or less, actually. It's probably been maybe about 6 months. So for them to take the baby, I think would have been pretty hardcore. I kind of wish they had, though, because I think it would have been a great way to push Maggie's character to completely do a 180. Like, as a writer, you rarely get the opportunity to really have your character truly just 100% like change and turn on their heads in a way that makes you go, oh my God, I didn't know that person was like that. And something like that, like having Maggie lose absolutely all of her family kind of in one shot, that's the kind of really crazy stuff that you can use to be like the switch that flicks in that character to be like, okay, well, I was the sweet, nice girl, and now screw everybody, screw everything, I'm going to be a badass, and this is the way things are going to go. But it's not to say Maggie still couldn't do it, but I'm just saying if they had gone the route of having her not stay pregnant, that would have been a great way, a great catalyst for a whole new character path for her, which I'm sure that even Lauren would have found pretty interesting, but I get it. You know, The Walking Dead is clearly loath to kill babies. And, you know, for those comic book spoiler warning, we all know that Judith did not last this long in the comics. So that's why I was a little like, oh, really? Are we going to have another baby? Because Judith disappears for like episodes on end as it is now. Like she's got some phantom sitter, or she's just extremely, I don't know. Judith probably is running her own daycare right now. So I don't know where there's room for another baby on The Walking Dead. But if Maggie is going to be at Hilltop permanently going forward, then I suppose it works. The girls turn to Jesus. I'm sorry, I'm never gonna be able to say that without a straight face because it just sounds so weird. They turn to Jesus to get some help. They're like, dude, help us out. We get the girls trying to appeal to Jesus, to appeal to Gregory to let them stay. Of course, Hilltop is attacked, which is basically Negan's men set up a walker bomb, basically a walker trap, I should say. With how do they even get an armored gremlin like in this far in the apocalypse? It's just like, okay, I'll suspend my disbelief to believe that they found an armored gremlin to put in there with a perfectly functional stereo system. The plan was that Negan's men thought they would come back in the morning and have everyone watch them as they killed all the big bad walkers, and they'd be able to go and show to them, hey, see, this is why you guys need us, because look at all these walkers. They could have came in here and killed you all and you would have been just stuck, and thank God for us and our big shiny guns and stuff. But what they didn't anticipate clearly was that Maggie and Sasha, you know, a 2-woman wrecking crew were going to be there, and of course Jesus. And you know, that's not what happened, right? I mean, those 3 cleaned the house all by themselves. Maggie coming in with the monster tractor and demolishing that gremlin, and they handled shit on their own, right? Which is something they clearly did not anticipate when they came back the next day. But Negan is really shook, and he just wants to make sure that none of the other communities he's got control of right now think of pulling an Alexandria. And so he's just going to go around and, just in case, make sure that they're all well shook and remember how, you know, how lucky they are to have Negan in their lives. But I mean, as a side note, that's a really awesome thing for Rick. It shows so much about Rick and his group. And I mean, the Negan we've seen so far, of course, has been very confident and nonchalant and charming, but he's not stupid. Like, we know he's obviously a very calculated man. He's a man who thinks a lot, and I think he keeps a lot of that stuff hidden behind that veneer of the charming smile and you know, this the sing song speak, because he wants people to kind of always feel like he always is in control and not that worried. But clearly Negan is smart enough to realize that what Rick and his group did as a small group, taking out a heavily armed compound with no casualties, is no joke. And I think it shook him. It really shook him. And he was like, oh crap, like 1 or 2 more places get like this and my reign is over. He knows this. So sending these guys out to Hilltop was definitely a strategic move on his part to make sure that all these other communities, especially the one that's closest to Alexandria, all get a little bit of a shake up and a smackdown of, hey, don't you even think of insurrecting, because if you do, whoo, you know, Walker, you know, we're gonna have this Walker traps all over the place. Negan's men come in, they have that conversation with Gregory, and Gregory, in his cowardly way, decides after all is said and done that he wants to give up the girls, because he's afraid that if these guys find out about it, it's gonna come back, and of course he's looking to save his own hide as usual. But thankfully Jesus was one step ahead. Of course he was. He hid the girls in a place he knew that Gregory would not think to look. And he actually ended up having to give up his precious prized booze collection, which, you know, for a guy as arrogant as Gregory, really hurt him where it counted. And Maggie was very much like, my name is Maggie Reed, bitch. Don't forget it. Don't missay it. Don't call me Marsha, Millie, whatever. You better say my name when you talk to me, and don't you come for me. I will send for you when I need you. She laid it down, and I love this. I just want to say also as a side note that it is so interesting to see that the women of The Walking Dead right now are so militant. Like, you know, we've got Rick, who's kind of like, okay, I gotta step back to save everybody, and Gregory, who's so passive, and back at the kingdom we've got Ezekiel, who's like, I don't like it, but it keeps them out of my camp, so I do their stupid little rule. Like, all these men are kind of all like, okay, you know, we had our pissing contest, Negan won, and so I'm just gonna sit back and, you know, just take it. And all the women are just like, all of them are like, hell no. Like, Michonne is like, hell no. Sasha, hell no. Maggie, hell no. You know, like, these women are all like, let's go, let's find this prick and end him. Like, I just love this kind of shift in the power thing, that these girls are not sitting back going, oh dear, what is it that we are to do? We're ready to go. We know how to kill. We know how to kick ass. Send me to his house. You know, in the words of Joanne the Scammer, like, give me access to the compound. Give me access to the bitch that is Negan. I will take care of business. But yeah, it looks like Sasha's trying to hatch a plan of some sort to maybe take Negan out on her own, which is probably not that far-fetched in that she is the sharpshooter out of Rick's group. So she could take Negan out from a distance, actually. FYI, am I the only person who ships Sasha and Jesus? Like, come on. Little Cezus? I don't know, Cezus or Jasha? Anyway, I like them. I think I saw a little sparkage there. I kind of liked it. Can Sasha just get a man that ain't gonna get killed within 2 episodes of them getting together, please? And sorry about that, my camera just totally died mid-recording, but I guess that means I need to wrap this up. So I really am looking forward to seeing where Jesus and Carl's little interaction goes. And in the comics, again, spoiler, Negan and Carl have a very interesting relationship, so I am a little curious to see how it's going to go in the show, how they're going to take it. So I feel like this is going to be the corridor into that relationship between the two of them. But overall, I think it was a cool episode in some regards. It was nice to see where Hilltop is and see where Maggie is. I do feel like we could have gone back to Alexandria a bit more, or even gone back to Kingdom a little bit, just because I felt like we didn't need to spend like 30 minutes, actually more than that. It's probably about 40 minutes of the episode in Hilltop. I feel like, you know, we could have established the fact that Maggie's staying and gonna be taking over some things, and, you know, Jesus was gonna head to the compound. I think we could have done that in like 15 minutes personally, but they got 16 episodes to fill, so be it. And I really do like seeing, you know, more development happening with a lot of the female characters that we haven't seen before, like Rosita, and I missed her earlier in my rant about the women who are kicking butt. Rosita is one of them as well. I really like seeing where this is going and how this new world, now that Negan's shaken everything up, is going to shape up. It's hard to believe we only got 3 more left until we have to wait 2 more months. But I don't know how they're gonna end this mid-season finale. We had the mother of all cliffhangers already. I really would be upset if they give us another massive one in December, but we'll see what happens. That's my review. I hope you guys liked it. I will be doing one again for next week's episode. If you like this, please, please, please like this video. And if you want to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and thanks so much for watching.